In this video, I want to let you guys know of a pretty good GameFly pre-owned game sales. Actually, a lot of pretty decent deals here. Last of Us Part 2 probably the highlight out of all of this, so if you've been looking to pick it up at a cheap price, now might be your opportunity to do so if you're okay with picking up a pre-owned copy. On top of that, a couple of other physical deals that I do want to highlight. Some really solid stuff, actually, all things considered. So let's get right into it. Again, kicking things off, GameFly is having a pre-owned game sale. The highlight being The Last of Us Part 2 being down to $19.99. Without a doubt, the cheapest this game has been. Obviously, a very controversial game. Some people absolutely loved it, other people not so much. I was not a big fan of some of the narrative decisions. However, if you talk about it from a fundamental gameplay standpoint, I mean, it still works, and there is that argument to be made that, yeah, the story is very memorable. Like, you'll play a lot of games over the course of years, and some of them will slip through the cracks and you'll forget about them. At the very least, you can say that you're never going to forget about The Last of Us Part 2 if you do end up playing it. But yeah, it's just one of the most divisive games that I've ever seen in my life. Like, honestly, I can't remember the last game that was as divisive as The Last of Us Part 2. Some people think it's one of the greatest games of all time, and then there are other people that literally think it's the worst game of all time. Obviously, it did win a lot of Game of the Year awards, depending on how much credibility you want to put towards that. I mean, that might be something to consider, but for $19.99, I do think this is a good price to pick the game up for. But yeah, I'll just let you guys know I was not a fan of a lot of the story decisions, so take it for what you will. Predator Hunting Grounds is down to $12.99, which is actually pretty decent. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory is down to $34.99. Doom Eternal, $17.99. That is really good. Would highly recommend that. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, $24.99 for that. That's actually low-key a really great deal. Would highly recommend that. Watch Dogs Legion, $25. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 for $25. That's okay. You got Cyberpunk 2077 for $30. EA Sports UFC 4 for $19.99. That's okay. Dreams is $17.99. Marvel's Avengers is down to $14.99. Okay, that's another one. A game that just came out back in September. We're talking, well, 4 months old, and it's already down to a quarter of its initial price point. Think about that. 25% of its initial price point 4 months after release. Just let that sink in for a second. Kingdoms of Amalur: Ray Reckoning is down to $15.99. Resident Evil 3 is down to $15.99. They do note it's disc only, so that's a bit of a bummer. And then I also see Greedfall is down to $9.99, so some pretty decent deals. Definitely Last of Us Part 2 is probably the highlight, and one that I imagine a couple people are at the very least going to pick up. I know at $59.99, given all the controversy, a lot of people were very hesitant on picking it up, but at $20 becomes a more palatable pickup. A couple other deals to note that just caught my eye. Star Wars Squadrons is $17.99. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated is $17.99 as well. So some decent stuff there, all things considered. Best Buy has also got Borderlands 3 for $9.99. I would say that that's a pretty good deal for Borderlands 3. That does include the PlayStation 4 version as well as the PlayStation 5 upgrade. I was not as big of a fan of Borderlands 3 as I was of Borderlands 1 and 2. Maybe because the Borderlands formula got a little bit stale to me. I don't really think that's the case. I think I just had a more enjoyable experience with Borderlands 2. All the games are good. Borderlands 3, if you enjoy the Borderlands formula, you're gonna dig it, and for just $10 for the PS4 and PS5 version of the game, I think that's a really good pickup. Speaking of Borderlands, I should also note Borderlands The Handsome Collection is down to $9.88 over on Walmart.com. That is a good deal. That includes Borderlands 2, all the DLC for that game, Borderlands the pre-sequel, all the DLC for that game as well. Solid pickup. Borderlands 1 is also available on the PlayStation Store. I think they might be running some sort of sale. I might have even talked about it yesterday, but yeah, that's when you're talking about so many deals, sometimes you forget about some of this stuff. But Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the pre-sequel for less than $10, that's really good. That's a lot of content for your money, a lot of replayability in there as well. And let me just say, with all the Borderlands games, there is this rhetoric that Borderlands is only enjoyable cooperatively, and don't get me wrong, Borderlands is a lot of fun with co-op play, but you can play the game as a single-player title as well. So I do think you can end up enjoying it on that aspect as well if you are planning on playing the game solo. Don't worry too much about that. All of the games have a ton of content. With Borderlands 3, the only thing is, I do imagine that they're eventually going to release like a complete edition or something of that, you know, instance where they have all the DLC included, so that might be something you'll want to wait for. Nevertheless, those are all pretty good deals. Skater XL, $25 on Best Buy. That's pretty good. This is a game I played quite a bit of on PC, and I was digging it. Expect a different kind of skateboarding game. Like, if you're expecting, like, Skate you know, Skate 2, Skate 3 out of Skater XL. Don't really expect that. Controls might be a little bit hard to get into, but overall, I'm a fan of skateboarding games. Even though I was never a skater myself, I always dig skateboarding titles, and this one is a pretty good one for 25 bucks. Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 4 Frontline Edition is $39.99 over on Amazon. You guys know me, I love Trails of Cold Steel. As you play Trails of Cold Steel, 1 and 2 are excellent. Cold Steel 3, Cold Steel 4, there are some story decisions that might be a little bit wonky to some people. I think they're still very enjoyable. I love the characters to this game, and this is the Frontline Edition, where you get a couple of extra stuff. You get a CD with it, you get a little art book, all that good stuff included, and at $40, I think it's pretty good. Obviously, you don't want to jump right into Trails of Cold Steel 4. Play the first 3, and then get to Trails of Cold Steel 4. This is a franchise you really need to play sequentially. If you haven't played the other Legend of Heroes titles, that's not as big of a deal, but if you do want the all-encompassing experience, yeah, playing all of the Legend of Heroes titles would be beneficial. There's a lot of videos on YouTube where people go over the story, so that might be something to look at, and there's a lot of, you know, posts online if you want to get completely up to speed, but if you just go through Trails of Cold Steel, you can find it an enjoyable experience as well. Do also want to note, Remnant from the Ashes is down to $20, I believe, on PlayStation 4. Yeah, so that's available on Amazon. You can check that out as well. Pretty good title there. A game that I would highly recommend you to play cooperatively, though, so that is something to note, but 20 bucks for it is quite good. And then for those of you looking to cop some Ubisoft titles, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is still available, $35 for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 versions of the game. If you pick up the PlayStation 4 version of the game, it's a free digital upgrade, and they also have the PlayStation 5 version of the game, where you can buy that for $35. And then, yes, Immortals Phoenix Rising still available at $29.88, actually docked a couple of cents there. That will be in stock February 1st, but you can buy it now, and then it will ship when it's ready, and you'll get the game. It's a very recent game, came out last month. The fact of the matter is, it being down to sub $30 already is kind of insane, but kind of the typical Ubisoft MO where a game comes out and then it'll get pretty cheap pretty quickly, so that is a pretty great deal. Probably will get cheaper sooner rather than later. I wouldn't be all too surprised if it's sub $20 at some point, but given that, again, only a little over a month old and it's already down under $30, I think that's a really good pickup, especially because I think, you know, gaming isn't going to be crazy over the course of the next months. Yeah, we have a couple of exciting titles coming out, but it's not going to be like big game after big game every week, so now might be a good downtime to check out Immortals Phoenix Rising, one of the more underrated games of 2020. But that's going to wrap up this video. Again, a ton of great deals available. We'll leave links to everything in the description box down below. That's going to wrap up this one. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.